Hi, this is Matt from tracymac.co.uk, and here I have the Samsung i900 Omnia, which we're just going to do a quick unbox before we have a little look at the interface, and then we'll go on to do a full written review. Pretty standard box inside, which opens up. See the Omnia itself right on top, which is a little larger than I expected it to be. We'll look at that in a bit more detail in just a second. I want to have a look at what else we have in the box. Underneath we have CD-ROM, which is a getting started disc, contains active sync, and there's a Samsung Fun Club and warranty card inside. There's an inline microphone and headphone adapter there, because the Omnia has this proprietary connector for its headphones. So there is this adapter, allows you to plug in an ordinary 3.5mm jack for standard headphones, and this inline microphone with push button. There is a clip on there and volume control. Quite a nice addition, glad to see that in there. We have the headphones that come with the i900, which are in-ear style, earbud style, which, well, they practically poke your brain because they are quite pointy there. They are standard 3.5mm jack there, as I mentioned, and there are also a set of different sized earbuds so that you can customise them. There is a connector, USB to that proprietary connector used for sync and charge. There is a battery, which is the only one supplied, which I suppose is both good and bad depending on how you look at it. It's good because it suggests that they are confident that the battery life is good enough to only supply one battery. I suppose it's bad in that it's sometimes useful to have that additional battery on standby. There is this bizarre stylus which we've seen on other devices in the past, which looks like, I don't know, lipstick or mascara or something. So it doesn't actually house the stylus, it is on this rather bizarre looking phone charm. I guess if you're a lady, then that might be a bit more acceptable than if you're a guy. So we'll have a look at that in a second. And finally, there is the charger. Again, as I say, there is that proprietary connector for the charger there. That's about all that's in the box, nothing underneath. So let's have a look at the Omnia itself. And I'll just pull off the plastic cover on the front. As you can see, it's an extremely shiny front face there, likely to be once again a bit of a fingerprint magnet. The screen itself is 3.2 inch and it is 240 by 400. As you can see, forward facing VGA camera there for video conferencing. Underneath there's just a couple of simple buttons. There's the phone keys for send and end phone keys, and this push button in the centre, which also I believe acts as a sort of a touch sensitive navigation. We'll sort of talk about that a bit more in the review and confirm that. On this side then you've got a dedicated camera button, and then a volume control rocker up and down the side. There's a menu button on the top. Right on top itself we have a power button and a reset button that you can access with a stylus. Then there's a little loop there that you can connect a lanyard or the phone charm, or in this case obviously connect the stylus. And underneath we have the connector for the headphones, sync and charge. Again, as I say, that is proprietary. Somewhat annoying, I know, banged on about this in the past, these proprietary connectors. I mean, it does mean that you have to use Samsung's own chargers and things, and I guess that works out expensive, and also you have to carry everything with you. So looking on the back, let's again just peel off the protective back cover. Sort of a brushed black finish on the back. We have the 5MP autofocus camera with a built-in mobile light or flash underneath. Back cover pops off just like this, and the battery goes in like that. The micro SD card slot is just here, and the SIM card slot just here. And the cover pops back on just as so. And we'll just power up. We're waiting for that to boot up. Just talk about the rest of the specification. There is a built-in GPS, so you can use this for sat-nav. As you can see, there's pretty much, there's virtually no keys on the front, so everything is basically touchscreen. It is Windows Mobile 6.1 Professional. This particular model has 8 gig of built-in storage. There is a 16 gig model available. There's quite a lot of discussion about this at the moment. Samsung giving out a bit of different information depending on who you are and who you ask. We've been told that the 16 gig models are for networks only, so you'll only get those on the likes of O2 and Orange, whereas the 8 gig version is the SIM-free version that you can buy from, say, Clove, for example, in this case. RAM on this model is 128 meg, so not too bad. As I say, it's a 3.2 inch 240 by 400 display, quad band, and it supports GPRS, Edge, 3G and HSDPA. The micro SD card slot is SDHC compatible, so you can put in up to 32 gig of micro SD cards. Bluetooth 2.0 with EDR, has wireless LAN 802.11b and G. Built-in FM radio with RDS support. Obviously there are going to be the inevitable comparisons between the Omnia here and the iPhone, so let's just look at the two side by side. You guess you could be forgiven for thinking that they are from the same manufacturer here. They are quite similar, to be honest with you. Both very shiny, both of a similar size. The iPhone is a little thinner, although a little wider, and they're very similar in length there. The iPhone in my hand feels a little bit heavier. Again, I'll confirm the actual weight comparisons, but say the Omnia does feel that bit lighter. And again, there's going to be comparisons with the Diamond. You can see the Diamond is that bit smaller, it's narrower and thinner, although there's not a great deal to choose between the two. Diamond seems to be significantly lighter. Diamond itself has the VGA display, which is 480 by 640, whereas the Omnia has the 240 by 400. So that's a comparison we'll be making when we talk about the Omnia and how it compares in the review. So let's move to somewhere a bit darker so that we can show you the interface. Okay, so move somewhere a bit darker so that you can actually see the display a little bit better. This is the standard home screen. So this bar is actually scrollable down the side, and this sidebar can be turned on and off. And so the way it works is you've got your items down the side here on this bar that's scrollable, and if we want to use an item we simply drag it to the main screen, and we can go through and pick a different backdrop, and then once we finish with that tool we can just drop it back in the sidebar. We can add in clock, turn off the sidebar, so we've got a clock on the main screen, or we can add a digital clock. So it's drag and drop and kind of works similar to the way you expect Windows to work on a PC with its widgets. And we can use Comm Manager and turn wireless on and off. We have the start menu, and that control at the bottom is touch sensitive, so it works similar to the controls on the Samsung i780, and it works for scrolling through. And I can go into programs there, see a list of all the programs displayed on the screen. So there are some customized icons. We've got Google there, we've got the FM radio, digital frame, which is, I guess, is some sort of picture viewer, Google Maps pre-installed, podcasts, RSS reader, smart convert, streaming media, TV out viewer, task manager. There's lots of different things there which we can talk about a bit later on. We'll discuss them a bit more in the review. Change the themes, system menu, got a hard reset, the finger mouse controls, backlight controls, TV out controls, and connections. Got settings for HSDPA, operator settings, GPRS authentication, and so on. There's lots actually on there which we're going to have to spend a bit more time looking at. There's even one here which is the media controls, so you can actually use the media controls on the screen. So we could actually set that up so that we want that there, and we want our phone book here, and we want calendar here. We can turn all that off. We can move these around and set up our home screen using drag and drop. So quite a nice idea. Going to take a little while for us to get through this review because there is a lot of custom stuff here that we need to talk about, but we'll be doing that over the next week or so, and the review will be online soon.